Lil Yachty drops his newest album, Lil Boat 3. Is it a hit? Is it a miss? Is it just alright? Also, did Logic really just hint that his next album's coming out next year? How depressed am I? Find out right now. What's going on, people? How we doing today? Welcome back to The Mantra. Breaking news, guys. We are now on YouTube with a live video feed of me. So, if you have not already, I think I told you guys last week about it, but check out The Mantra on YouTube, and now you can see me and my beautiful face and my amazing Star Wars A New Hope retro gear with my vinyl records behind me and my Funko Pops, all in my glory of my bedroom. Talk about sports, music, and everything. So check out The Mantra on YouTube, guys, if you want a more like live, in tune, Joe Rogan kind of type experience, you know. But without further ado, let's talk Lil Yachty, you know. So if you don't know who Lil Yachty is, he burst onto the scene back in about 2016 with his mixtape Lil Boat, coming off with big hit features or big hit singles like One Night, almost 300 million Spotify plays. Wow. And Minnesota. It's cold like Minnesota. And then Sprite made a parody of that called like they made a parody commercial, and it was all about it's cold like a Sprite soda with Lil Yachty, and it was genius marketing ploy. Got both versions stuck in my head. Fun fact: the music video for Minnesota, cold like Minnesota, they filmed a little bit of it, or almost all of it, I think, in a hockey rink not too far from where I live. Shout out the homie Robert who told me about that. Big hockey guy, my man Robert. All right, so Lil Boat, 2016, solid mixtape. A few good tracks that I still remember and keep in the rotation. Then in 2016, he also came out with Summer Songs 2, which was not received that well, but I didn't mind the track with the Offset feature, Dipset. In 2017, he came out with his first album, which was Teenage Emotions. Nothing too special on that. In my opinion, not too well critically received. But 2018, he burst back onto the scene with his follow-up to his initial mixtape with Lil Boat 2. Tracks like Get Money Bros featuring T Grizzly. I love T Grizzly. He slept on in the hip-hop game. Mickey featuring Offset and Lil Baby. NBA Youngboat featuring Youngboy Never Broke Again. A track with Youngboy. Youngboy, when he's on his features, I don't mind him. He's got Bandit with Juice WRLD, NBA Youngboat. He's got that new Migos song. He's not terrible all the time. Anyway, and then 66 featuring Trippie Redd I liked as well. He also dropped an album in that same year, Nothing to Prove, that had a few solid tracks with Get Dripped featuring Playboi Carti. Playboi Carti did not miss on a single track back in 2018. And then we had Yacht World featuring the late, great Juice WRLD. Another great song. Those are the ones that I really know Lil Yachty for. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I respect him. He's one of the pioneers of modern day kind of like SoundCloud trap music, I guess. He burst onto the scene in 2016, I told you. But he was in that XXL freshman class. XXL is a hip-hop magazine, if you don't know. Selects like the most up-and-coming and popular, newest rappers in the game every year. 2016, he was part of an insane class, and they always break up the freshmen into like groups of 4 or 5 for ciphers where they play a beat and they basically have to freestyle a verse over it. Usually rappers like come with a pre-written verse though. Anyways, 2016, he was in the most legendary hip hop cipher, XXL cipher of all time, in my opinion. Because we got him, we got Lil Uzi Vert, we got 21 Savage, and we also had Kodak Black and Denzel Curry, all on that one track. That one cipher, and it was amazing. Everyone on that track is popped off. I think Kodak's the only one struggling right now, just because he's in jail, or I think he's in jail. I don't know. I gotta read up on my my hip hop incarceration history. But Lil Boat 3, I talked about the last 2 Lil Boats. They were shorter, around like 12, 13 tracks. Lil Boat 2 was a little longer, I guess, at 17. But the initial mixtape was 13 tracks. But the newest Lil Boat 3, I guess you could still call it a mixtape just because it's still, I mean, still has the title. But it's 19 tracks, not too long. I want to say it clocks in around, can I do math in my head real quick right now? I'm going to say like 40-ish minutes. The longest song is a little under 4 minutes. So there's a lot of tracks on this joint. What am I saying? There's a lot of tracks on this record, this album that are about 2 minutes. There's two that are even under 2 minutes. So that's interesting. But I just want to get into it real quick. So we're gonna start from the first track, and then just go further on from that. So intro track. Intro tracks are such a interesting part of an album because you got tracks that are usually forgettable. I mean, I think it varies from album to album. There's a few kinds of intro tracks. There's the intro track that's like kind of emotional, kind of like sets the vibe, but doesn't really provide any content. Like Contact from Logic on The Incredible True Story. I can only think of Logic examples. But then you have the emotional ones that also have content to them, if that makes sense. Like Over My Dead Body on Take Care Deluxe is just such a tone setter for that moody album by Drake, one of his best works. And then you also have like another example of that would be Intro from Logic's Under Pressure, kind of like a pop rap joint mix. Has the emotional undertones to it, but also emphasizes that he's there to spit bars and tell the story. So, Yachty's intro to Lil Boat 3, Top Down, is I mean, I gotta say it does set the tone. Like you listen to it, you're like, okay, this is definitely Lil Yachty. But the instrumental, the beat, has a very light bass with enjoyable lo-fi synth rhythm. You think it's gonna be kind of like I don't know, a wavy song, but Lil Yachty comes in with this aggressive auto tune that's super high pitched, kind of like Cardi's Playboy Cardi's recent baby voice that we've heard on songs like At Me and Pain 1993. And the hook is about having the top down, of course. And it's aggressive. It's a turn up song, I guess. But I don't really like it. I think it could be, if it's going to be anywhere, it's going to be on like a SoundCloud mixtape of Lil Yachty. I just don't think this is a commercial release worthy track. But I mean, I can understand why people like this. It's a song to turn up to, but I just think his vocals are a little too jarring, I guess is the way to put it. But it's only 2.5-ish minutes. And once you get past this track, the rest of the album is, I mean, this is like the lowest point of the album, in my opinion. So it gets better. So second track is Walk in Stock, where there's a little more synth. The usage across this record of synth is sparse in some parts, but when it's used well. It's kind of a nostalgic vibe to it, and it's got the kind of like the watery piano sounds in the background. If you guys have played Super Mario 64, you remember the water level, that song that was like da 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 da. Yeah, that track. It kind of just got like the nostalgic kind of calmy vibes to it, and Yachty comes in with a hard-hitting bass behind him that kind of, I don't know if there's an issue with the mixing or if it's just the bass contrasted to his vocals, but his vocals sound a little drowned out or like faded at some points when the bass just bumps. I listen with my these headphones if you're watching on YouTube, Arctis 7. So they got surround sound, so maybe that affects it in some way because they're meant for gaming, not listening to music. But they're still great for listening to music. But his vocals just get toned down a bit, I guess, which is interesting. It just sounds weird from time to time, and this happens a few times on the album. But it isn't like it won't ruin anything. But Yachty he has fun on this song. He has a vibe. He has a few interesting, fun lyrics, like that kind of don't really make sense, but he's still like, okay, this is funny, and that happens a few times throughout this album, and I'll explain that as I get to more. But he says on this song, "Got a stick way too big, I could kill a fox." Maybe that went over my head. Maybe I'm too pure for, I don't know if this has a deeper meaning, but I don't know what it means to kill a fox if you have a stick way too big. Maybe I mean, of course, stick can refer to multiple things when it comes to rap, different types of guns. But It just sounds corny in itself, in its own realm. But the instrumentals, I said, the Super Mario 64 Dire Dire Docks, it's relaxing, and I like this track. It's not one of my favorites, but it's one of the better tracks on the record. So moving into the third track, which I would say has two tracks in one. It's called Split slash Whole Time. This actually came out a few days ago on YouTube as a music video. People hypothesize that these are going to be made into two full songs, but nope, it's just two half songs in one. And I love the first half of Synth, or I mean the first the first half called Split, which has amazing synths on the beat. The bass is hard hitting. The hook is solid. He's talking about mixing pink lemonade. And as I said again, the vocal mixing, his voice kind of fades when the bass kicks in. And I wish this was made into a whole song because Split is solid. The hook is catchy. There's even got there's some xylophone, marimba, bell sounds in the backgrounds, and he's copying Playboy Cardi with the B ad-libs. I can't get that high up pitched, but you know what I'm talking about if you listen to Playboy Cardi. Yeah, and the whole time is kind of sounds like a freestyle, I guess. Less of like a hit, like a trap hit. It's just kind of a freestyle, and it's just kind of rough. Like it doesn't feel like it was finished. So I like Split. The whole time was okay. I think if both of these tracks were expanded, they would have been a little bit better executed, I guess. So as I take a sip of my water, moving on to the best track of this album, which is T. D. Actually, just T. D, which, if you don't know, means Tokyo Drift. So this song uses a Tokyo Drift sample, and it is pure fire. Lil Yachty is the worst part of the song, but not not saying he's terrible. It's just like everyone else outshines him. So this song features Tierra Whack, ASAP Rocky, the GOAT. If you haven't checked out Live Long ASAP, Long Live ASAP, whatever it's called, that mixtape released back in mid 2010s, amazing. Love ASAP Rocky. And then Tyler, the Creator, coming in with a rap verse. All three of these people, all three of these features, all three of these rappers just kill it. And Yachty does well as well, but I think this song is like set up to be kind of like a cipher, kind of like a freestyle, like a Tokyo Drift freestyle, I guess. And Yachty kind of sounds like he's messing around on his part at the beginning. He's doing more Playboy Cardi ad-libs, saying slat, saying B. But I don't hate it. He's just having fun, and everyone's having fun on this track. So Rocky comes in amazingly. Rocky just has fun on this verse. You can tell he's just like he's delivering. We had that track called Babushka Boy, his single he dropped a few months ago. I like that. Rocky just eats this beat. I wrote down on my notes, Rocky eats this beat. And then Tyler the Creator. Never been a huge fan of his. I don't hate him. Like I respect him as a musician, but I don't really like his style of kind of like experimental hip hop. But he just straight raps on this. If you guys have heard Potato Salad with him and ASAP, kind of reminds me of this with his flow. And it's funny just because after watching a bunch of interviews with Tyler the Creator, he's such a funny, nonsensical dude. His freestyle on Sway in the Morning is hilarious. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. But it's sometimes it's hard to take Tyler serious when he's rapping like off rip, like no auto tune, no singing, just no weird voices, just rapping. And I think it'd be interesting to see what a pure rap Tyler the Creator album would be like. But Tierra Whack just hops on this beat. She goes right onto it. Right after Tyler, right when Tyler is kind of finishing up, Tierra just boom starts spitting. Her flow is fast. Her flow is, but not to like an Eminem fast. Just like she's spitting, and then she's spitting. You know, and then Yachty comes in at the end with a little short verse, which isn't anything special, but you know, he wrapped it up. It's his track, his album, so you're not gonna hate on it. So this Tokyo Drift track is just so fun. I'm gonna have this in my rotation for a while. So next track is also a good one. This 3-track stretch we're getting on right now. After Split slash Whole Time, which was also all right, but this 3-track stretch is just the best part of the album, in my opinion. So next track is Pardon Me, featuring Future, Mr. Pluto himself, Mr. I'm doing bird ad-libs in every song I'm in 2020. Also featuring Mike Will Made It on the production, combined with eardrummers, the Ray Sremmerd favorite. So the beat is just pure hitting bass, and it is amazing. The hi-hats are nice and crisp, and Future comes in with this repetitive hook that he also works into his verse where he's like, pardon me, blah, 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 pardon me, blah, 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 blah. I don't remember the lyrics. It's been out for like, I don't know, 19 hours. So, yeah, Future is just having fun, as he always does. And Yachty kills this beat. When Yachty raps with no autotune, I love it, and I want a whole album from it. I want one. I want a full Yachty album or mixtape with just no autotune, straight rap, because he has hunger when he raps like this. And Mike Will made it, and eardrummers just kill this production. And then Future has his verse when he just interrupts it. He goes in between his bars with like a bird whistle, like a. I can't whistle that good right now because my lips are dry, but I'll drink some water and try and fix that. But Future just doing like bird calls, bird whistles on this, and I don't know what it is, but it's hilarious. He's the only person who could pull it off. I like this track as well. It's a banger. And gosh, I just love Future, man. I'm so sad about his recent album. I hated it. I didn't hate it. I just didn't like it. It wasn't like terrible, but give like a 3 out of 10. But Future just has fun on every feature that he's on. Tongue twister for you right there. Next track, Demon Time, track 6. Featuring Draft Day, who I know nothing about, but Draft Day, he raps at the beginning of this song. He is kind of like they trade a few bars for a few bars, but not like 3 bars, 3 bars. Like, I don't know, like 10, 12 bars, 10, 12 bars. Draft Day, he opens the track with a little bit of lyrics, and he's like rapping, and then the beat hits. And I love that when that happens in a song. It's like, la-la-ba-da, ba-ba-da, ba-ba-da, boom, and then he keeps rapping, like he doesn't stop. There's no bass. There's no space. And the bass that hits on this track is just grainy and filthy, and it reminds me of the Grinch from Trippie Redd. If you know that bass, that beat, that instrumental, it just sounds dirty in your headphones, in your ears. But Yachty also steals the show in this, kind of like the Future song. It's just, when he raps with no auto-tune, I love it. But Draft Day also hops back on this. As I said, they trade bars. It's just insane. It's insane. Yachty doesn't sound like he takes a breath in parts of the song, and I like it. I like it. So moving on to Black Jesus. This is where the Lil Boat tape, Lil Boat album, whatever you want to call it. This whole project goes back to more auto-tune / fun / chill Yachty, just vibing. So Jetson is on this song for production. And another classic Yachty lyric on this song. So Yachty says, "Stand on my racks, I'm Mo Bombi. I mean Mo Bamba." He says that because Mo Bombi is not a real person, but Mo Bamba is. So he mispronounces a name, but still makes it into a bar. And I don't know how, but it works. And the beat is just kind of a basic trap beat. Soft hi-hats, but the thing I like is that it sounds like they sampled a SpongeBob Chase song, like the da 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 da. Actually, no, that's like the starting an episode song, but it's like a guitar / ukulele strum, but like pitched down. And the whole song is kind of, it's like a Yachty lyrics you expect. He's talking about himself being Black Jesus, but it fits him, and I like this track again. So it's definitely in the upper tiers, mid to upper tiers of the track ranking for me. So next song from Down Bad. I like the beat on this one. Hard hitting bass again. It reminds me of Venetia from Lil Uzi Vert's recent album Eternal Atake, which came out in March. Kind of got the, I don't know, kind of like the accordion, but like synthed out on a hitting bass. As I said earlier, hitting bass. I sound weird. And Yachty is reflecting on his path to fame and current state and popularity in the song. I don't hate it, but as I mentioned a little bit earlier, the mixing makes his vocals sound drowned out by the bass on some parts of the song, but it's not intolerable. So overall, I like that song as well. Love Jones goes back to the earlier song Walk and Stalk with the instrumental. It's very, very Dire Doxy SM64 type beat. It also reminds me of an instrumental off of Nav's Bad Habits album, which came out last year. Kind of like sad, like druggy, I guess. slower paced. But the thing that ruins this instrumental is the hi-hats are just so damn loud, and the bass is a little overblowing too, but I just think the song could have been like so much better, like if it was more in an emotional, moody tone. And Yachty kind of tries to go for that, but his vocals just sound low energy and sleepy. He's like deeper voiced with the auto tune, but his vocals only match the sample, like as I said, like the piano, the watery piano, synthy accordion sounds, whatever they are, the Bad Habits type sounds. But just the bass and the hi hats, they want to make this song a trap song so bad, and I think it should just be a mood song. Don't hate it, but it's just I think it could have been done better. So next song I don't really like either, which is Can't Go. The hi hats on this track are very loud, and he's back to his higher auto tune pitch sound, which like top down at the start. But this track is just very short. Like it's only a minute 53, and compared to Love Jones, which is the last track, I don't remember if I named the name of it. And that song, it worked as like a, I don't know, a shorter song because it was more emotional, even though it had the parts of the instrumental which kind of tried to make it a faster energy. This song is more of like a auto tune trap fun track, but I just think it needs to be longer, or the auto tune just needs to go. I don't know. Yachty, when he gets too much auto tune on his vocals, I don't mess with it. Next song was the hit lead single off of this album. Already has 63 million streams on Spotify. Came out, I want to say, like 2 months ago. And while I take a sip of water, hold on. This song features DaBaby and Drake. And Drake is the best part of this song, this track. He has a solid flow, just like stock Drake. But he's like, I don't know, he's more of like a higher pitched, like, takes me back to like a Take Care Drake verse. I don't know. Drake just like these days he's all about the I'm have a lower tone and I'm rapping fiercer. But when you go back to like stuff like Take Care, like I mentioned the Over My Dead Body, the intro track, he just sounds more introspective when he raps. And while there's tracks like these days like Nonstop, and Pay 1993, where he's more deeper toned and more focused on the flow, when he sounds more like, I don't know, vulnerable when he's rapping, if that makes sense, I don't mind it. And the beat is also great. It's got like a piano on it, like a kind of like a carnival-y piano sample. And there's some fluctuating synth throughout, which is awesome. And it has like the pauses, I love when a song has pauses and the rappers on it can like match their flow to like go over the pauses effectively. And Yachty's hook is decent. As I said, Drake's verse is amazing. DaBaby does not fit this song at all. I hate his flow. People say, "Oh, it's always the same," and I kind of agree. But when he switches up, his sound is too generic. So it's like, "Let's go. I want to talk like this, and I'm gonna sound like I'm talking in all caps." Uh, but I don't know. I like Bop a lot. I don't mind Kirk. Kirk is a decent album, but DaBaby he doesn't fit this vibe. And there's a little bit of like auto tune or singing on the last part of his verse, and then he says "Let's go" as the ad libs throughout the final hook. But still a good track overall. Next track is a fun one called Range Rover Sports Truck. So, Pierre Bourne produces this track. Hey, yo, Pierre, you want to come out here? If you guys don't know who Pierre Bourne is, if you hear that sound on the track, it's Pierre Bourne. So the bass just hits fast. It's fast-paced. It's grainy and rough. And then the whole hook, this is like a Playboy Carti die-lit throwaway. It's just a whole Playboy Carti inspired track, I guess. Yachty, the whole hook. This is featuring Lil Keed, by the way. Yachty's just like, Range Rover sports truck, Range Rover sports truck, Billy Bentayga, and we hit that Jaeger, something like that. But it's just like they're having fun. And Keed comes on and switches on. He flows. And Keed makes this track is just a vibe. But it's like it's like a turn up track. And he goes back to the Cardi ad libs saying B, saying slat. I wrote in my notes, save the slats for a whole lot of red. I'm praying that Cardi's whole lot of red is gonna exceed the recent features he's had because those have not been that great. You know, all we want is Kid Cudi. We just want that song that's been leaked for so long on a whole lot of red, and I'll be happy. The beat, like the sample on the beat, reminds me of a sped up Mo Bamba, like a da na na da da na na da, but it's just like a da na na da na na da na na, kind of like that. And then Yachty has a small verse at the end. It kind of something that could have been left off, but I don't. Keed Carroll carries the verses of this song, like not getting too lyrical, but still having like a turn up vibe to it. The production is just amazing though. This is a top 3 produced song for me on this track. So next song was very frustrating because I love the start of it. So there's a synth piano-ish sample at the start, or synth piano-ish instrumental, that leads into the bass of the beat dropping, which is nice. And then Yachty's just auto-tune Yachty, but you know, he's like a normalized auto-tune. He sounds like Yachty. Not on drugs, not all crazed out. And it's just a basic track. Normal trap vibes, but then his whole hook is like he's, I don't know if it's like trying to be him licking on a lemon head or something, but he's just going not like that, like more auto-tune. That just sounds weird, but it's just weird. And then the second verse, he goes into a higher Playboy Cardi Baby type voice. I really like the start of this track because it's just a fun, catchy tune, but then the hook just ruins it. Doesn't, I mean, the rest of the hook is decent, but just the like, can you come up with something better than that? Come on, Lil Yachty, come on. So next track, which is track 14, is Don't Forget, which at the start of it is there's a future sound, but I know Yachty does it. He does the bird sound. I can't do it like all high pitched like that. I can't even get high like that, kind of like that, but lower than that, you know. So he's doing future ad-libs and Cardi ad-libs on this. So the guitar, like SpongeBob strum instrumental, is back, and then there's also like an Old Town Road deep whistle sample on this, but it's not like from Old Town Road, I don't think, but it's got that like deeper whistle. And this track is kind of like a somber oceanic country vibe to it, and he's like, you can tell Yachty is more introspective and reflecting on this track. And he has the background auto-tune vocals where he's just kind of like harmonizing in the back, but to himself, if that makes sense. And it's just like a slower paced song that's decent. And the guitar also, I noticed that it sounds like that song called Am I Wrong from Nico and Vince, which was a big pop hit a few years ago. The song goes like, Am I wrong for thinking the ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ooh, na 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 na, that song. If you don't know it, if you don't recognize it from my terrible singing, look it up. Am I Wrong from Nico and Vince. Solid pop hit. So yeah, I like this track. The instrumental and the samples and everything layered on this track is just interesting, and I like it. So next song is Up There Music, which I think the whole point of this song is talk about being high, but maybe it's more, I could be totally wrong. Maybe it's just him being up there as in popularity, as in feeling like he's in the clouds. The instrumental features an electric metal strumming kind of vibe to it. It's got electric metallic notes that just sound like kind of staccato all over the place. And the bass waits a few seconds to come in, which is nice. There was what was the track recently? So Lemonhead did that too. He's done that a few times on this album, which I liked. And then Yachty's lower auto-tune is featured again on this track. His vocals are a little softer tuned. At the end of it, he kind of starts talking, which is, I never really like talking on an album, but it's whatever. It's not a terrible track. It's a little forgettable though. So Westside is the next track, 16. I like this one. This is back to his no auto-tune, just hungry rapping. Buddha production on this, the Buddha bless this beat, that dude. And Yachty is rapping, as I said. He's got there's like a snake charm type sound on the beat, like what's it called? That thing that they play. I forget the instrument they do to charm the snake. The bass is a little quiet, but I love this track just because he's got hunger, and he has the best lyric on this whole album on this song, which is "Move that bitch to Oklahoma City." Expletive, just like Supersonics, which is hilarious. You guys don't know a little NBA story behind this reference. The Oklahoma City Thunder were created after the Supersonics left Seattle. They moved from Seattle. Yeah. So as before we get into the final tracks on this album and talk about Logic, I'm just gonna take a short break. So I will catch you guys in just a second. All right, we're back and we're talking about the end, the last few tracks of Lil Yachty's newest album slash mixtape, Lil Boat 3. So, track 17, Till the Morning, features Young Thug and Lil Durk. And this beat is interesting. So, the synths are kind of like pulsating in and out on the instrumental. There's like falling star notes, kind of like synthy, with a hard hitting bass, which is nice. And they got some more marimba xylophone type sounds on this beat as well, going back to split slash whole time. Yachty's hook isn't anything too special, but I think Thug fits the beat a little well, or not a little well, surprisingly well. Just because he sounds a little like off pace a bit. I feel like if he rapped a little bit faster, he could fit the rhythm of the instrumental a little bit better. But he delivers well. I mean, Young Thug, it's hard for him to miss these days. He's a solid artist. But Lil Durk has auto-tune in this track, which I just don't like. If you guys know No Auto featuring Lil Durk on Lil Uzi's deluxe version of Eternal Tick, that song is amazing. And Durk just has this raw, angry sound to himself. But he just sounds not like Lil Durk on this track. He's auto-tuned. And I thought it was Yachty for a second. And his verse is very short as well. And his verse also kind of serves as the hook. But Yachty also has the hook as well. Like Durk does a version of the hook at the end, but then Yachty does one at the beginning. I don't get why 2 out of the 3 did the hook. And Durk's part is very short, so I don't really like this track. It's not terrible, but I think it just is flawed. Woo Chili is a solid track. Track number 18. As I take a sip of water, Yachty opens this track by saying, "This sound like some Zelda type shit," right before the beat drops, which is very accurate. It's got a slower synthy meditation type vibe, and it's got, if you guys remember, Skepta Interlude, which had a Zelda sample on the hook. Not really. The hook was kind of like the instrumental by itself. It was like an instrumental hook, but it's got that high pitched sound, high pitched horn. If you guys remember, Skepta Interlude's horn was like do 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 do, kind of like some Pokemon Emerald type horns. But Yachty's just vibing on this track. He's got some auto-tuned which are nice. And the bass slaps. It's just a fun, like, Yachty turn-up sound. But it's more vibey, because, as I said, the instrumental is a little, like, I don't know, more synthy, meditation type vibes. I like the synths across this album. And then the final track is Concrete Boys, where there's an opening sample. This is kind of like a oriental violin piece, something you'd imagine, like, ballet dancers dancing to, I guess. And the bass, when it kicks in at the start after the sample starts, it just drowns it out a little bit jarringly. I don't know if there's an issue with the mixing or my headphones, but it's interesting. And then Yachty's a little higher pitched vocally for his auto-tune. He's back with some Playboy Cardi ad-libs. And then the sample sounds a little bit like, I like it. Like, as I said earlier, it's like oriental violin-y, but I think it like sets the tone for an outro track. But Yachty waits until the last 30 seconds of this, kind of make it like sound like an outro track, if that makes sense. It's just kind of like I don't know, sounds kind of like a Yachty turn-up track. But the last 30 seconds, he's a little retrospective. I'd have to look up the lyrics, which I can do right now. Concrete Boys lyrics, Lil Yachty. But in the last 30 seconds, he says, "These bitches for everyone. Can't give the game to everyone, no. I can't lose myself trying to save them. I done took so many L's, I ain't going back." Which is like a solid little remark. But the rest of the song is just, I don't know, kind of about having houses on his wrist, putting people on ice, doing things to women, not in a bad way. But I don't know. I like the outro part of it, but it's like the last 20 seconds is the outro, and the rest is just a separate track that's not an outro. But overall, I like this album somewhat. Like, I don't know, it's above average. So what I do for my rating system, Look at me, all professional. I have a rating system. I rate every track out of 10, then I average all the tracks. So this album gets about a 6.2, 6.3 from me, which is a decent rating, I'd say. My favorite tracks, I mentioned that 3-track stretch earlier. Tokyo Drift by far my favorite track. And then I also like Demon Time. I like Range Rover Sports Track. I like Pardon Me featuring Future. And I also like Woo Chili. Those are like my top 5. So all in all, decent album. I recommend it if you're a fan of trap. And if you're a fan of rap, you got to check out Pardon Me featuring Future. You got to check out Demon Time. Got to check out Woo Chili. Those are all good. I think Playboi Carti fans will like this album especially. So before I let y'all go, cannot forget about my man Logic. Let me pull out the track lyrics for this new Logic feature. So he's on this new song with Quinn XCII. I don't know. That's probably not lyrics. That's probably Roman numerals for something. But I believe Quinn is on Logic's label company or so. I don't. He's like in Visionary Music Group, which is a part of Logic. I don't know the whole group. They're signed to the label or something. But it's kind of like a pop rap, kind of like I don't know, like a Pitbull joint where he's got a fun, upbeat chorus, and then there's a rap section. So Quinn serves as the vocalist. He's got a good voice. I haven't really heard anything from Quinn before this, but the whole chorus is about I wrote a letter to my younger self. But he's got like a kind of like a raw, but like a good raw voice for pop. And he's just got a natural, like he hits the notes. He hits them well, and he sounds like kind of like an instrument in himself, his own voice. This song's all about motivating yourself, I guess, which is funny because Logic had that whole 1-800 song, which was about motivation, of course, speaking up about suicide, which is a good message. But Logic has a really good voice about this, and he's talking about F all that pop shit, get back to rapping, unplugged from the internet. No, you don't need to tap in because Logic is off all social medias right now. He talks about how he's saving up for his new album, which is rumored to be called, or no, it's confirmed by him to be called No Pressure. He's saying focusing on writing and bars, F the income, take up all the time in the world and then some, save up for the album, way better outcome. F a filler line, ship and done. And then they play the young Sinatra little sample, the Sinatra. If you guys are a Logic fan, you know that sound. And he says his mind state feeling more 2014, which is when one of his most critically acclaimed albums, Under Pressure, came out. Shout out the vinyl behind me. But he says, I'm way more polished, 2022 clean. Tracklist done, yeah, the tracklist done. The saddest part of the album. But I might just wait till 2021. And he goes on to say, because I want to love every single day with his new son. So fans can wait if they know that it's great. I'm taking my time perfecting the rhyme. Because this ain't that who can relate. It's a movement, it's fate. So he's saying it's not a message about mental health or a corny pop movement song. It's more back on the bars, which I'm excited for. I just hope Logic can actually deliver this time because past 2 albums he's kind of hyped up and they haven't been that great. I didn't mind Young Sinatra 4. I didn't mind Everybody, but Confessions from a Dangerous Mind was just, come on, man. Come on. That ain't you, Logic. That ain't you. So is another reference to one of his recent albums, Supermarket, which was like a pop alternative rock joint I never really checked out just because I don't think it fits Logic's style. He says, I saw that DeLorean and I hopped in it. Boy, this is a passion I haven't felt like forever. So DeLorean, of course, is a track on Supermarket and is also a reference to time travel because of Back to the Future. That's the car that Marty McFly uses to travel in Back to the Future. Yeah, so it's a cool little pop fiction, little discography references. You gotta love when an artist references their own discography in a track, in a feature, or whatever. So that's a good about wrap up today's episode, guys. If you haven't checked us out on Twitter, go ahead and follow us at the Mantra Pod. You can also support us on Anchor for as low as 99 cents a month. Helps keep the podcast up and running. A little more extra motivation because, I mean, if you're getting more cheddar, you're going to want to be making more bread. Just made that up on the spot. Look at me, folks. Look at me go. You can also check me out on Twitter at Ethan W. Hendo. And until next time, until next episode, which we'll be covering Freddie Gibbs' new album, Alfredo, which is absolutely insanely good. I have to re-listen to it so many times. I love it. Freddie Gibbs, Alfredo. Great rapper, Freddie Gibbs. Check him out. Listen to his older stuff, and then listen to Alfredo right before you listen to my review of it. So we'll be back with Freddie Gibbs and a little more Alfredo with the pasta and the sauce, all that creamy goodness. And until next time, guys, peace out and have a great day.